Welcome back to Two Camping Gurus. Today we're going to test out more Instafire products. If you saw last week's video, then you know I had some more Instafire product to test, and today we're going to be testing these two together. I mean, you can see I can easily get a fire going here. The question is, will it get the wet stuff going directly from this? Now, I did purchase the product that I tested last week, but Instafire did reach out to me, as I said in the last video, and asked if I wanted some other products to test, and I said sure. So they did send these out, plus I have a couple more I have not tested yet either. We'll be doing videos of those in the future. But I also promise to give you an honest review, not just because, I'm not going to give them a good review just because they send this out to me free. I'm going to give a good review if it's a good product and something I would recommend. Now, what we have here is two different ones. I think this one here is very similar to what I bought. Now, the one I bought was the factory seconds. It's a little bit cheaper. I think I paid 25 or 30 bucks or something for that bucket you saw last week. And then this is like the actual, the finished good product, not a seconds. And then this one here, again, I think is very similar, but it says on here it's military grade. And how we're going to test this is I have some dry wood set up here, some pallet wood that I broke up, and then I have a pine, wet pine that I split in half as best I could that we'll put on top of each one, and I also have wet maple. So this is wet wood. It says it will light wet wood, so we're going to give it a fair test. So one of these will sit on this side, one over here, and we'll do the same for this. But we'll start this one and see what happens. So this one here is the military grade. It lights up to 4 fires. Again, a 1/4 cup per fire, so there's like a cup in here. Now I can see right away this stuff looks different than last week's stuff. It looks smaller, I guess, and less so the wood chunks. Yeah, so just pour it into a pile. Let's see what I have left here. Yeah, I think there's enough in there to do that 3 more times. Well, that definitely lit, and that definitely lit. And we'll go ahead and remove the match, so that's not part of it. And we'll go ahead and set this pine log on top here. And we'll set this pine log on top here. While that's doing its thing, this is the military grade on this side. Lights wet wood, burns at nearly 1,000 degrees, burns in winds up to 30 miles an hour, burns on snow, ice, even floats, and burns on water. Non-volatile, non-unexpected flare-ups. Long burn time, an 1/8 cup will burn 5 to 7 minutes. 5-year shelf life, waterproof pouch, until you open it, of course. Safe to store near food. And the Instafire ash is a natural fertilizer. On the front here it shows it can be used for campfires, fireplaces, cooking, charcoal, to light charcoal, and emergency situations. Again, this is the Instafire Firestarter military grade and made in USA. Go ahead and read this other one. Now this one here is also Instafire Firestarter on the front, campfires, fireplaces, cooking, charcoal, emergency, so that's the same. On the back, lights wet wood, burns at nearly 1,000 degrees, burns on snow, water, and ice, non-volatile, no unexpected flare-ups, long burn time 10 to 15 minutes, waterproof pouch, of course, until you open it, no harmful chemicals, safe to store near food. Instafire leftovers material is a good fertilizer. It actually nourishes the earth is what it says right here. You light them the same way. The only difference I see in the two of these is this one, long burn time, 1/8 of a cup, burns 5 to 7 minutes. And, I guess it's the same. This says burns 10 to 50 minutes, and I guess that's assuming you put a 1/4 cup. So if you had a 1/4 cup, that's double. That would be 10 to 15 minutes. The only other difference I see is this one here says it'll burn in winds up to 30 miles an hour. Did that go out on us? No, it didn't. This one here, I can see the other wood lit on fire. Let me just stir it. They do say if it's not going, you can kind of give it a little stir. It'll flare up, and you see that it certainly did that. This one just, it seemed like the fire was wider. Now the piles are almost identical. That's interesting that the military grade one, now granted, the fire you're seeing here is the other wood burning, but the Instafire is still burning and hitting this. But the military grade one doesn't seem to be as big of a fire. I've had to stir this one up a couple times now, and the wood distance here from the pile of Instafire was the same. Now these ones are actually closer now, so it wasn't that wood is closer to the fire originally. This is pallet wood off the exact same pallet, so they're dried the same. They've been sitting outside. So everything is as equal as possible. Maybe, I'm sure somebody will point out something that I didn't do equal. I'm going to go ahead and give this one a little bit of a stir too now, but it's still burning better than the other one. The camera's probably was off for about 5 minutes or so. And I did stir it a little bit over here again and here. I'll go ahead and turn this one up here and see. Now you can certainly see it is charred away at the wood, but the fire is essentially out. I didn't do anything much to it other than stir it up a little bit, and this is not lit on fire. Now, correct me if I've done something wrong, but this is what my results are. And the same thing here. Now, it charred it up quite a bit, but the fire is essentially out. Okay, so I cleaned up the areas. You can see I pushed all the ash up here from the two fires in the new area. I got the new pile down of this stuff here. And I did the same thing over here. I got it flipped over. This one here is a little charred, but it's really not burnt. And I flipped these over so it's dealing with fresh wood in the middle. We're going to go ahead now and make sure these look about the same distance-wise. And we're going to go ahead and try the hardwood. Alright, we'll get the match out of there. Go ahead and put the hardwood on top here. And put the hardwood on top here. Alright, again, on this side here we have the military grade Instafire. I mean, this stuff, what I like about it is no harmful chemicals. It's eco-friendly. It's smokeless for the most part. The smoke you're seeing is from the boards it's lighting on fire. And again, each of these packets supposedly will light up to 4 fires, which there's no doubt about that. I mean, you can see I can easily get a fire going here. The question is, will it get the wet stuff going directly? No doubt in my mind I can get a nice good campfire going with either one of these products. So as far as that goes, I think they're great. Just like last week's video when I lit the 1 log fire. If you didn't see that video, check it out. It was last week's. I made a 1 log fire with, drilling the 2 holes in it, put a little bit of this stuff in it, and man, that thing worked great. But the other thing we're testing right now is, will this stuff light wet wood? And my opinion right now is it will if you get other wood lit. So indirectly it will light the wet wood. If you were to just lay a wet log on top of 2 other wet logs, I believe like they show in some of their commercials and stuff, I don't think you would light that wet log unless you used a lot more of the product. And maybe that's a future video. Maybe I'll pour a whole one of these down and see if that will actually light a wet log. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead again and shut the camera off, let these kind of do their thing for a few minutes, and we'll come back here and take a look and see what we've done. Okay, once again, camera was off for about 5 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, not much. I did stir each of these a couple times during that 5 minutes just to get the fire to flare up again, and that's something they do say that you can do if it starts to die down. And that did work. When I did that, some of the new product was exposed to the oxygen and really got going. That's all I did. I didn't move anything else. There's still some flame over here on one of the pieces of the pallet wood. This one appears to be pretty much out. The wind did pick up a little bit, certainly not 30 miles an hour, but even with the good breeze we had a few minutes ago, neither one of these went out. There was still a pretty good fire going. So that's a great feature. You're not worried about the fire going out just because you have a little bit of wind. If you can get your match lit and get that stuff lit, I don't think wind would be an issue either, which is great. But as far as them lighting this wet wood directly from the Instafire, and I'm not sure that's exactly their claim, because you can look at it a couple ways. They could be saying that, hey, this will light wet wood indirectly if you get other stuff going, which, any fire, I guess, would do that. But now you can see, well, that pallet's still burning over there a little bit, but the wet wood is still not lit on fire by any means. So you can see they're just about out. I'm going to go ahead and shut the camera off, reposition, and we'll do a wrap-up of my opinion. So just to wrap this up, we were testing the Instafire Firestarter today. We were testing the military grade product they put out and the regular one that they also put out. And what I did was, as you already saw that in the video, is I tried to light some wet wood, and you can see the results right here. It didn't actually light these on fire, but it certainly turned them to charcoal. but there's no doubt you would get these going if you continued to dock to the fire and add drier wood or smaller pieces. And that was for the military grade. And the same thing goes for the other one. Oh boy, you can definitely tell this is hardwood, it's a lot heavier. This one here almost got going, but again, in the end, they did not actually light on fire as I would expect them to do based on their advertisement. However, don't write the product off. I think it's a fantastic product. You know, there's always going to be smaller pieces of wood in the woods to light and get going a smaller fire. Then in turn, it'll get this wet wood going. So in the end, it didn't actually light this wet stuff on fire completely. But there's no doubt in my mind, in even a wet situation where you had some wet wood, as long as you could gather up some small stuff, you would definitely get yourself a good fire going. So I still like the product. That's, you know, one claim they made that maybe not 100% true, unless maybe you have to use quite a bit more product, and I might do that for a future video. Maybe I'll use a whole package of this and then put a piece of this over it, and that might be enough to get it going. And if an emergency situation, if that's what you have to do, that's what you got to do. But I'll put links in the description. As far as which one of these I liked better, I got to tell you, I think the regular one, I know this one is marketed as military grade. Unless I'm doing something wrong, I felt that this one performed a little bit better. But again, I like them both. So check them out. I'll put a couple links down in the description. Don't forget to check out last week's video that I used some of the product to light a one log fire. And hopefully you found this a little bit helpful. I do have a couple more, at least 2 more products that they sent me. Some fire logs that we're going to use to actually cook on and see how food tastes after cooking on them, because they say you can use it to cook. So we're going to be doing that video in the future. And then there's some charcoal briquettes, I think. But anyways, stay tuned for those. They're coming soon. Good product. I definitely recommend it. Click on the links down in the description. Have a great day and happy camping. We'll see you in the next video.
Well, you made it to the end of the video. Hopefully you found something in this video that was helpful, useful. If nothing else, maybe we entertained you. And like I said at the beginning, you want that pre-trip checklist and ebook? You can go right down in the description, click on the link, it'll take you right over to it. Also, swing over to our website at twocampinggurus.com. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and as always, happy camping. We'll see you in the next video.